Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene, the great Malabite. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning.
We'll start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. We start with the lead story. Legal framework will prevent governors from abusing state police, says Senate leader. Insists is best for effective security functional economy. Nigeria has police-citizen ratio of 1 to 650, far cry from United Nations minimum of 1 to 460. Yes, Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele, of course, weighing in there on the issue of state police. We want to say state police are an idea whose time has come. And the Senate is ready to walk the talk. Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele insisting that, well, the framework to prevent abuse will be put in place, the legal framework. Well, those who want to abuse power or a system will do so irrespective of the law. But we cannot continue to shy away from multi-level policing just because there is a fear that some governors somewhere are likely to abuse state police. We're talking about the security of the nation. The current system where the chief executive of the state, chief security officer of the state, has no control over the state police commissioner, who has to take orders from the IG in Abuja. Well, it's not working. More importantly, having policemen who know the terrain, who are from this vicinity, is one that recommends itself in a country that is in dire security straits, in the tangle of insecurity. Continue this idea, we continue to push it. We just hope that when the Senate eventually amend the Constitution to reflect this, we'll be able to get the required 2/3 of states' houses of assembly concurring with this amendment. Now, the story above the masthead. Mele Kyari blames oil output decline on underinvestment, theft, pipeline constraints. Says NNPC rolling out rig share program set to drill 53 additional wells. And of course, another story below that, Komolafe, with growing investment in renewables, EVs, Nigeria must aggressively exploit its fossil fuel. Well, the drive to increase production is on, and before long, we hope that NNPC and, of course, all other stakeholders in the oil and gas industry will be able to ramp up production to the extent that a Dangote refinery will not have to import crude from the United States of America. Now, if we go to the Punch newspaper, yes, the Punch newspaper, Dangote petrol supply. Federal government may slash 6 trillion naira fuel import. 520 billion naira monthly fuel import expected to drop as Dangote begins supply in June. Well, June is just a few days away. Next month, Dangote refinery will start churning out products that will hit the Nigerian market, the filling stations across the country, and that will be a very welcome development that will not spend hard currency to import petroleum products anymore, or at least will be reduced to the minimum. Now, the Guardian newspaper, MPC meeting's decision. Further hike anticipated as inflation interest rate converge above 30%. Scorecard of 2 years monetary tightening. Interest rate 24.75%. Inflation 31.7%. Here's the MPC meeting coming up tomorrow, expecting a rate hike to deal with the inflationary trend in the country. Another story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, minimum wage, NLC reject 100,000 naira as federal government labor shift grounds. Well, the discussion is still on, and at least the federal government has shifted ground from the paltry 48,000 naira it proposed earlier. We are not talking about 100,000 naira. Well, before long, a minimum wage will be agreed on and it will become law in this country. The Business Day newspaper, the lead story, MPC seen further raising interest rates to tame inflation. But another story on the front page of Business Day. Patients' misery mounts as energy guzzles 40% of hospital costs. Average of 5 hospitals shut down monthly. Yes, according to Association of Nigerian Private Medical Practitioners, there is a problem in the system because hospitals have to power with diesel, and diesel is very expensive. The costs, adding that to the cost of running hospitals, has seen many private hospitals closing down, and of course, high costs of medical treatment for patients. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, manufacturers wail. The Vanguard newspaper. Manufacturers wail as unsold goods pile up in warehouses. As cost of living rises, purchasing power drops. Palm oil was hit. Beer producers emerge best performance. Well, if we just look at the New Telegraph newspaper, 10 years after abduction, Army rescues 386 civilians from Sambisa Forest. Sambisa Forest, still the terrorists still holding sway there. But the Army, doing their clearing up, has been able to rescue 386 civilians recently. Now, if we just look at newspapers from across Africa, the Citizen newspaper of South Africa, experts vote in drove. Yes, expatriates are now voting ahead of the May 29 presidential election in South Africa. Of course, expatriates from 20,000 in 2019, 70,000 expatriates are now voting, are coming out to vote in this election, and they have started voting according to this report. It means those who left South Africa in search of greener pastures elsewhere, well, still think about home, and they have faith in the democracy in that country. Now, the Herald newspaper of Zimbabwe, SADC holds extraordinary summit today. Yes, the South African Development Council holding this, heads of state holding extraordinary meeting to look at, the bloc to launch humanitarian appeal to raise awareness in the international community to bring aid because of food shortage as a result of the El Nino rains in that part of the country. We just take, just look at the Tehran Times before we round off. Martyrdom in line of duty. Yes, the Iranian president and prime minister and foreign minister died in that plane crash somewhere in Kazakhstan, right? Azerbaijan. East Azerbaijan.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Feni. Just to draw attention to the fact that the CBN has withdrawn its circular on cybersecurity levy of May 6th. So now you don't have to worry.
In obedience to the president's pronouncement.
About paying 0.5% on all your transactions. Thank you very much, Emmanuel.